most amazing artists, and welcome back to our final week of our Pointillism balloons. So far during this project we have learned so much. We learned all about George Seurat, we learned what Pointillism was, and we did our hot air balloon drawing. So you learned how to draw a hot air balloon, we learned a cool technique with crayons and watercolor, and we practiced a lot of different techniques with Pointillism. The different techniques that we learned were how to do Pointillism with marker, how to do it with paint and Q-tips, and down here was kind of like an experimental section for me because I tried to do it with the back of a paintbrush. I did it with the back of a pencil right here, like the eraser part of the pencil, and the tip of your pencil. So you can do any technique that you want to. For mine, I am just gonna stick with the cool marker technique. I think it is more effective because the dots are smaller, they look more interesting and more detailed. But you can do any of these techniques that you want to for your final hot air balloons. And this is how mine turned out after adding my Pointillism with my markers. And I wanted to stick with my certain color combinations. So I chose blue-green, yellow-green. You can choose any of these colors to add to your hot air balloons. And since we did a watercolor background, we just did it really a light kind of background, our hot air balloons are really popping off of the page and they look amazing. So based on whatever technique you want to do will determine the materials that you're going to need. For me, I just needed my project, my hot air balloons, and I needed some markers, and that was it. If you want to do the painting technique, then you're just of course going to need some paint, maybe a paintbrush, possibly Q-tips if you want to do that technique. So depending on your technique that you choose will determine what materials you will need. So I'm super excited to show you guys how to finish this artwork up, but before we get started, let's go ahead and say our class mantra all together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. My mantra: I am positive, I am creative, I am mindful, I am amazing, I am an artist. All right guys, let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, so I have my guide here, and these are all the 9 colors that I could use for each of my sections in my hot air balloon. We're doing it this way because certain colors that you mix together create brown, like yellow and violet make brown, orange and blue make brown, red and green make brown. So we're gonna stick with these color combinations for each of our sections in our hot air balloon. And for my final artwork, I have decided to use markers because I think it looks really nice and neat as long as you fill in all of the white space. If you leave a bunch of white space, then our eyes aren't really going to do the mixing for us. We need to have those dots really close together for our marker technique to work. And also, I have a lot of smaller areas, so I don't think the Q-tip would be very good because it kind of makes a really big dot. So I think markers is best for this artwork and how big my spaces are. But of course, you can do whatever technique you'd like to for your final artwork. So I'm just going to keep my guide over here as a reference as I'm adding my Pointillism to my hot air balloons. And really, you could do these any color you want to. Maybe I want this section to be yellow orange, then red orange, then yellow orange, then red orange. You could do a pattern like that, or you could mix it up however you want to. But each of these sections should be one of these colors. So I think for my first section, I do want to do yellow orange. So I'm just going to grab my yellow and my orange. And remember, it's telling me over here, use yellow first and then orange. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in this section with my little dots, and I'll be right back to show you my next section. Alright guys, so there is my first section done. I cannot stress enough to you guys that you need to fill in all of the white space. I know it takes a little bit longer to make sure you get all those white spaces filled in, but trust me, once you see these hot air balloons completely finished and all this white space filled in, you'll be so proud of the outcome, I promise. If you leave too much white space, then it's really going to look incomplete and it will look kind of rushed. It won't look like you took your time and you used your best craftsmanship or anything. So please make sure you fill in the whole entire white space. For my next section, I am going to choose red violet down here, and it's telling me use red first and then violet. So I'm just going to take my red, and in the section right next to my yellow orange section, I'm going to fill it in with my pointillism. There is my red violet section done, and I have a little tiny bit of white space showing, and that's okay, but we really need to fill in the majority of that white space for our pointillism technique to really shine and work. All right, I think you guys get the point. Get it? Anyways, yeah, I think you guys get the point of pointillism now. So each section is going to be one of these colors from our practice sheet that we did last time. You're also going to do that little rectangle that we drew on the bottom of our balloons. So we just need to fill in all of these spaces with our beautiful pointillism technique. I'm going to speed mine up so you don't have to sit through me just putting dots down. It could take a really long time. So I'm gonna speed mine up and I will show you what it looks like when I'm done. Oops, I forgot to mention one thing. You know those pencil lines that we drew the lines on our balloon with? Well, I'm actually trying to go over those so they're kind of hidden behind our pointillism, because sometimes those pencil lines can get a little bit distracting. So you can just use your little dots and go right over those pencil lines. That's the last thing I need to say. Now I'm going to speed it all up and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. And here is my final hot air balloon pointillism project, whatever you want to call it. I think it's called Pointillism balloons. Here they are, finished, beautiful, amazing. This does take a little while to do our pointillism technique, but as our hot air balloons get smaller, they take less time. Of course, this bigger one took the most time, but as they get tinier, they go a lot faster. I hope you guys learned a lot about this project, about George Seurat, pointillism, how to mix colors using pointillism, even how to draw hot air balloons, and our cool crayon and watercolor technique. There was so many different techniques packed into this one beautiful artwork, and so far what I've seen, you guys have been doing such an amazing job, and it's gonna look even more amazing when you add your pointillism. I hope you guys have a lot of fun finishing up your hot air balloon project. I can't wait to see how they turn out. I know they're going to be amazing because you guys are amazing. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.